Weekly Sauce episode 39. Again, as usual, this episode is brought to you by Hot Sauce, by Mike's BBQ Rub. Visit mikesbbqrubmtl.com and use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. Best sauce you can have. I mean, last week we spoke about maybe them doing a tzatziki sauce. I don't know, but the mustard truffle sauce is unbelievable. Try it out. Mike's BBQ Rub, mtl.com. Use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. Special week this week. We got Amar Sejdic on from the Montreal. I was going to say Montreal Impact, from the Club de Foot Montreal. I'll start with you, Alex. How's it going, buddy?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Good, man. Good. Alex, my buddy, my cohort, my colleague. How are you, man?
I'm excited, man. Our first Impact player, so I'm pumped.
No, it's not the Impact anymore. We got to get that shit right.
Oh yeah, it's not Impact anymore.
It's tough. I catch myself sometimes too.
I'm still gonna say it. I grew up watching the Impact. You know, my dad was a huge fan, and a bunch of his friends played for the Impact growing up. So like, I'm always gonna call it the Impact. I can't not call it the Impact.
I think it's a big transition for a lot of people, especially people who have been from this region. But yeah, it's difficult to change sometimes, like when you're so used to saying something. Like when I crossed the border and I went through the border and they were like, oh, what do you do here? And then like I told them, and then I like caught myself, like, then I was like, do they even know about the name change? You know what I mean? So like if I said Club de Foot, like, do they know that we changed our name? Or like they'd be like, what club is that? And so I would just like, yeah, we're Club de Foot, previously known as Montreal Impact. I'm like, okay. So
okay, cool.
It's
Thanks.
funny.
Appreciate it.
Like, all right, go quarantine. I'm like, all right.
So I mean, we'll start off right away. I mean, the news came out today that Henri is back. You're the manager, I guess, the Impact manager. I'm not changing. We're gonna call it the Impact. So the Impact manager is he's gone back to England. Family issues. What was it like being coached under him? What kind of a player was he? How did the news fall on the team?
Well, we found out this morning actually. But the past year was honestly, it was mesmerizing, just because it's a guy that accomplished so much as a player, and I was fortunate enough to kind of start growing my career under him. You know, my first year with Montreal was very slow, no game time. And then I remember in the off season, I saw that he got announced, and I was like, okay, like I'm going to bust my ass off, give everything I got in the off season, so that when the moment comes to play under him, like I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to be all ears. I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to apply what he teaches me on the field, and just kind of take it from there. And it ended up treating me really well, because for me, I'm a player who's very mental, so I read and understand the game very well. From the physical standpoint, I might not be the most athletic, but since I do have these mental traits where I can understand passing lanes and movements, and I can think a step or two ahead of somebody else on the field, it puts me in a better position. And I think he recognized that from me within the course of the preseason camp, and then as the year went on, he kind of put more and more trust into me, and I was really looking forward to this year. Super bummed that he's not going to be our head coach, my head coach, but nonetheless, he's a fantastic human being, very kind guy. He's a very family-oriented guy, as you can tell. I mean, no one really wants to be without their family during a pandemic, and us having to do what we got to do to go to the U.S. and play out of a market that isn't our market without our loved ones around us. And it's definitely very challenging for a lot of people. So, I mean, 100% I respect his decision, and just kind of what you got to do. And now it's in terms of how do the players adapt, and how does the club adapt as well.
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and speaking of him having trust in you, what kind of coach is he? Is he more of a giving you guys freedom to play, or is he more like strict? Like what's his philosophy?
Philosophy, I guess I would categorize it under. He comes in with tactics, and then under the tactics he presents, it's your personality that executes the tactics. So it gives you kind of the game plan of what formation we're going to play. Like, whenever this guy has the ball here, where you should be at on the field to create more space for another guy. And then just within that, it's like you kind of have to just let yourself play to your own personality. Like if you have a 1v1 opportunity, he wants you to always take a 1v1 opportunity because like he wants you to be brave. He wants you to take that chance. And especially if you're in like the final third. So it's definitely, it's just a guy who understands the game at a very high level and knows that you can break a team down a lot if you can focus on their weak points and then but still let the players play how they know how to play.
So I mean, it's every coach is different, right? I mean, you'll have a lot of different similar styles, and he's more of, you know, he's that type of player. Is more of a European style. Did you see a big difference in terms of the style of play from what he brought into what you're normally used to in North America?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, considering this now is my third year as a professional, and he was my third coach as a professional, you know what I mean? So I've already experienced 3 different coaches. It's going to be a 4th this upcoming year. So like I've gotten a feel of how different people want to play, but I mean, I've been playing the game not at a professional level for that long, but I went through university, that type of soccer. I went through academy and whatnot. So he definitely changed the game when it came to tactics, because we never really played the same formation or the same ideas like more than 2 times in a single season. Like every time we faced a different opponent, it was okay, what are their weaknesses and how do we exploit them? And okay, here's how we're going to shift what we do to exploit their weaknesses. And they're not going to, it's either that we're going to like put numbers where they're very uncomfortable and they have to play through us like very well to get behind us, or basically like if we somehow turn over the ball in a bad position, then they're going to counter us and score. So it's just a risk that he took, but it's a risk that's fun to take because it allows you to play the game.
You've mentioned academy, so I looked up your career path, and you were with Vitesse back in 2013, I believe. How was your experience in Europe, and did you notice an actual difference between U.S. training and European training?
Yeah, I think it's still at a different level. I know compared to 2013 that now it's definitely gotten better. But when I was there, I mean, I was shocked at like the environment, going from Kentucky, you know, which is just a state with like a not the greatest level of soccer. A lot of talent does come from there. Like I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I know who had very, very high levels of talent, but then they just kind of slipped through the cracks. They didn't get recruited into colleges, or it comes down to a point where you got to decide, okay, am I going to start working, or am I going to go to school, or am I going to chase this thing forever? Like being professional, that is. And a lot of them just kind of chose the other route. For me, I was fortunate enough to go to Europe, and then that's when I saw like the other side of the world and how they treat the sport. And I mean, everything is focused on the youth. Like I remember Vitesse had just gotten a new owner, and as soon as he got there, he invested like 30 million euros into the practice facility alone. And it was state of the art, like brand new fields, brand new turf fields, heated, like underneath was heated. So like if it ever rained, snowed, like it would be cleared. And we had our own dressing room. There was like a cafeteria that was only for like the older guys. State-of-the-art gym, like everything you can think of. We even had drivers who would pick us up from school, take us to training, and then they would wait for us after training and take us home. So like there's no parent connection. Like parents can't use the excuse like, oh, I don't have time, or oh, I don't want to bring them, oh, I don't have the money. It's like, okay, your son has talent, we'll give our resources to make him play for our team, and hopefully either sign him to the first team or transfer him and get money out of him. So like it was just very, very, very focused on the youth. And to say the least. MLS is definitely growing in that aspect as we see like FC Dallas transferring a lot of players over to Europe and whatnot. So it's definitely promising, and it looks good for the league.
So you're Bosnian by way of Germany, moved to the States. Well, how old were you when you moved to the States?
Like 4.
Oh, okay, so you're super young.
Yeah.
Where did you?
Yeah, very young.
What part of the country did you move to?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, you moved to Louisville. Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. I thought
Yeah.
so. Yeah, like you said, Louisville is not known for the soccer, but you can find gems anywhere, right? And I think
Right.
that's the thing, right? And it's like you can find it. I mean, it's the same thing with here in hockey. I mean, you can find players, like a good hockey player in Kentucky, example, doesn't necessarily. Like, there's a lot of players that come out of Texas that are good hockey players, but not necessarily like household names in Canada. And I think that
Yeah.
the bigger the youth academy is the more success you'll have, but it just takes a long time. So when you have somebody to invest $30 million, like you said, it goes a long way, right? And I think that it makes the player accountable. It's like, we're going to invest this into you. Well, give us back the effort, and you'll be fine that way, right?
It goes a long way.
It's a tough thing to say, okay, we're going to invest now, and 20 years later the team's going to be successful, or 10 years later, you know what I mean? But we saw it with the best teams in the world. Like Alex is a diehard Man U fan, but without that club that they had with Neville and all these guys, and Beckham and Butt and all those guys, they wouldn't have been shit compared to my Liverpool team. So like that's just basically what it is. So I wanted to ask you. So I mentioned I'm a Liverpool fan. Alex is a Man U fan. Who did you grow up liking?
Honestly, like I'm a Manchester City supporter, and that's mainly because when Edin Dzeko, Bosnian guy who went there back in like early, I don't even know what it was, like 2010, 9 maybe, 2010, 11, whatever.
Dzeko
and
was so good,
he was like, he was the Bosnian Diamond. We call him the Diamond. And when he went there, I became a supporter of Man City, and then I'm a huge Pep Guardiola guy. So when he went to Man City, it just like, it just filled everything I wanted. So
that's actually a good follow-up question. Who's the one guy you'd want to be coached by? I guess we'll have to eliminate Pep in the conversation.
Well then in that case, Marcelo Bielsa. I've been following him recently from Leeds United, and he is like also, I think, at that level of Pep in terms of just like his style of play is incredible. Like what he was able to do with the championship level team in England, and then still keep the same core of guys from the championship level team, bring them into the Premier League. Don't change the style of play regardless of who you're playing against. It's back and forth, like possession style soccer. For 90 minutes, and sure, they're not in the best position in the league, but like you gotta give credit to like the effort that he instills and like the trust he puts into his players to play.
Absolutely.
Do you see yourself being more of a box to box player, or do you see more yourself being like a stay back, create plays player? Like a numbers?
No, I'm a more box to box player for sure. I think I shine more in front, like in the final third. I have a good eye for passes. Like I can see different runs, and I don't necessarily need to see you, but if I hear you, like I can find angles to find guys in, and I think that's one of my good traits that I have.
And what did you think of all the new additions that we added to the team? We added Mihailovic, which I watched him play with Chicago. He was really good, and then we added Kamal Miller as well. Are you excited about those guys coming into the team?
Absolutely. I think we really made a strong group this year to really fight for something. You know what I mean? Like now we have good depth on the bench, and there's going to be competition in almost every position. You know what I mean? So it's not like any one guy has a comfortable starting spot. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a fight, but in a good way. Competition is healthy for everyone. It keeps people humble. It keeps people on their toes. And I mean, not everyone not anyone can play every single minute, every single game for 34 games I think they want to play this year.
Yeah.
On top of like Euros and CONCACAF and Olympic, and I don't even know what other tournaments there is. Gold Cup, I think.
Cup, yeah.
So yeah,
It's gonna be tough to navigate through, especially in a COVID season. I mean, we've seen other sports do it, but hopefully the MLS can get it done. I mean, there's a lot of momentum that the Impact has taken. I think the whole rebranding too, with the jersey and the name and everything. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think of the jersey? Is like it's 50-50 in the city. People like it, people don't. I like it. I like the black one. What do you think of the jerseys? And you could be as open as you want to be, Amar.
No, I like it. I think the idea behind the rebrand is it sends a strong message, and it definitely kind of fuels something that there is bigger than just the name. You know what I mean? I think it's the philosophy that's put into it. I would have loved if like we did a rebrand and then like we were able to play in Canada. You know what I mean? Like I think we would have felt it much more. I think it would have clicked much stronger with like fans and stuff like that. But I think the overall view and the I guess vision of what the club is doing is very positive.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, honestly, I agree with you. I don't care if it's 50-50. People are going to forget about the jersey in a year from now.
Yeah.
Or the
Right.
or Club de Foot. I mean, I still call it Impact, but I know a year, 2 years from now, I'll say Club de Foot, and you and I will have this conversation, and you're going to call me out. It's going to be great. And we're going to forget about it. I mean, it is what it is. People move on, and I think that I want this team to move on in the right. But I was there when they made it to the finals of the CONCACAF Champions League. I forget against who. It was a Latin American team.
Club America.
Yeah, I was all the way back. There was nobody behind me. Me, my brother, and like a line of friends. And that place was full. And when they scored, I forgot who scored, man. It was the midfielder. Oh, man, I forgot who scored. Anyway, but it was, the place went through the roof. Like, it was unbelievable. And
I can imagine.
Yeah. It was shaking, literally shaking. Where we were standing. And I want that feeling again. And I've been to games at Saputo Stadium, and it's beautiful, especially in the summer. It's nice. I want to get back to that. Now, serious questions. Serious question is, since you told me you're stuck in quarantine, you can't really eat proper food. You're ordering Uber Eats. The government's checking in on you every 10 minutes. It's fine. What's your go-to on Uber Eats? And if there was an Uber Eats, if there wasn't a quarantine, what would be your go-to so far in the city that you like? Meal or restaurant?
Man, I've eaten at so many amazing restaurants in the city over the past 2 years. I can't even say that I do have a favorite. I don't like, I'm a big foodie guy, so like out of all the restaurants that are here, I love to like sample. Like I don't really ever want to go twice in 1 week to the same place. You know what I mean? Like I want to try something different from somewhere else. And like if I want to be healthy or something like that, and like I don't know, basic, then I'll do like a Mandy's for lunch or like a dinner type, you know, just like a little basic thing.
Yeah.
I've had Tommy's Cafe, and they have some very, very, very good like breakfast sandwiches and like those small bites.
Have you had Unibar?
I haven't had Unibar.
Well,
I haven't had Unibar yet.
Best burger I've ever had in my life, and that's where anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, best burger I've ever had in my life is Uniburger.
I actually have a Five Guys right next to my apartment.
Good.
It's been tempting me, but maybe for one of my cheat meals this week, I might have to grab it. But no, I definitely have to try Uniburger or Unibar before I eat Five Guys, just because I want to kind of dabble with that too. But actually, one of my favorite restaurants is you guys know Restaurant Holder?
Yeah, of course.
Holder, yeah.
Oh, the best goat cheese omelette I've ever had in my life.
Top of the line.
Amazing. Oh my god, it's so good, and their French toast too. Wow, that's killer.
So I want to also ask, have you tried a poutine?
I have had poutine. Honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of
All right,
poutine.
this is where we hang up the conversation. You're talking to two fat guys. We've had way too many.
And no, but like poutine is such a like traditional cultural thing for you guys, but like to me, I just see it as like I don't like French fries that are soggy. You know what I mean? Like right. I like crispy potatoes and crispy French fries, and then like I see you guys put like the curds of cheese and then like the gravy, and I'm just like, it just doesn't. It's
Well, where
not
did
even
you have the
appetizing.
poutine? Because there's places that don't put a lot of gravy on that have crispy fries that you still get the crisp out of it.
I don't even remember where I had it. It was so long ago, but I was like, I'm not really.
No,
like,
you're not.
I'm not really.
And
Yeah.
you're not the only American that comes here. Well, so, like, you're like a Southerner, right? I mean, like Kentucky, that's how it's north of the South, right? That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like when people think of Kentucky, they think of like hillbillies and stuff, but like Louisville, the city is like such a different
Well, it's a college town, right?
aspect of Kentucky.
It's
It's very big college
yeah,
town.
it's
Yeah,
college town. I mean, Muhammad Ali was the whole thing, right? So, and
yeah.
so, but you're used to like barbecue, right?
Honestly, no. Like the barbecue's also like for me. Like you guys have to understand. Like I'm Bosnian. Like both my parents are Bosnian. So like,
Gotcha.
and then like I've spent most of my life kind of traveling. So like I went to Holland and I had like Dutch food for a year when I was there, and I went to Arizona because I played at RSL Academy,
Okay.
and I was there, and then I went to Maryland and I had like that type cuisine, and then like now I'm in Montreal, so like I have like a very
You have no
variety of
association to
taste
Kentucky
buds.
food. anymore.
Nah,
Yeah.
I mean, nah, like the most, like Kentucky's not really necessarily known for like I don't even think I've ever had KFC in my life.
Well, you don't even
You know
have
what
to
I
have
mean?
KFC if you live in Kentucky. I mean,
You
Kentucky Fried
just-
Chicken.
you just-
It's not Kentucky
It's always
Fried
in
Chicken.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So actually, you brought it up, University of Maryland, and big football school.
Mhm.
What was it like playing soccer there? I mean, if you walk by a football player, does he like push you into the lockers? Like, how does it work?
Nah, I mean, football. I think basketball was a little bit more dominant while I was there. I know within the last year or two, they picked up Tua Tagliafico's little brother,
Yeah.
and he made a big impact on the team. But basketball was, I think, the primary sport. Lacrosse was up there too, and then we were there as well. I mean, we were very well known. We had like 8,000, 9,000 students per game.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
You're usually Friday nights. Tuesday nights we get like 3 or 4, but we were really well known around the campus too. But no, the football guys are cool. I was actually friends with a decent amount of them. Josh Woods, who plays for Chicago Bears. He actually used to crash at my apartment all the time.
That's cool.
He's a very great guy. It was a very surreal experience being there.
So this brings me to ask you, what sport would you practice if it wasn't football or soccer, whichever you prefer, or what would be your job? Like, what would be your regular job?
I ask myself that like every day because like now I'm doing my MBA. I'm doing it in sports management, and I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like after playing football my entire life or soccer my entire life, like I can't really see myself outside of it. You know what I mean? Like like being able to just wake up and like chase a ball every day. You know what I mean? It's like it gives me something to look forward to in some sense. So I feel like eventually, like from this, I'm gonna go into coaching or maybe scouting or maybe a director, sporting director, technical director, academy director. Like I want to be involved in the sport in some way. Like I don't know if I can really, go like study the stock market or like be a financial advisor or stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just doesn't like drive me. Like I'm sure I could do it, but it doesn't really necessarily make me happy. So
You want to be involved as much as you can, and I think that it's always a good feeling too, especially for guys that stop playing to be involved and see other kids grow and give them opportunities that they might not have. And I'm involved. I'm involved in for hockey for prep schools and stuff, and we're actually moving into soccer and football to get kids to go to prep schools from here. To get a better education and use their education, use their athletics to get a better education. I think that's what the ultimate goal is, right? If I can go like you're seeing, I'll bring it back to hockey, but I could see all these kids in the World Junior Championships, all the Americans, they all go to school. You know what I mean? Like there's a few of them that play in the CHL, which is fine. It's a great place to play, but a lot of them go to school, and it's a big avenue. Like the Habs, a first round pick 2 years ago, he's playing University of Wisconsin. So like it's a big thing, and I think that a lot more kids are moving towards that angle, and it's the right way to be. And I think that you getting involved in kids with the development of players and stuff. That's awesome. So we're gonna have to take you out for a real Poutine one day.
That's fine with me. You guys show me the spot. Maybe it'll change my mind.
Absolutely. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to say that you don't like Poutine because if you haven't had the best one, so we'll have to find the best one. There's a bunch of places around you that the thing about your area where you live is very very snooty. It's very like this, right? So you got to get to like Little Italy. You got to get to like Ireland. You got to get to those areas. That's where the food is. You know what I mean? Like your area is like where everybody goes out to dine and they dress up way too well, like way too properly. You got to go to a place where you walk in. It's like this place is gonna be good food, and I don't even have to think about it, and that's what it is. But your burger is. I
like those places too.
Yeah.
I like those places. Yeah.
Yeah, like Little Italy, you can get a pizza San. It's the best pizza I've ever had in my life. It's San Gennaro. I mean, you're shut off when you live in the area that you live in. Oh, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, where's restaurant Elena? I went there for pizza one time, and it was wow.
How good is that?
It was so good.
Elena's probably one of the best slices I've had too in a while. Elena's good. San Gennaro is my favorite. There's Gemma, which is in Little Italy as well. Okay. I mean, you got to do it, man. You got to do it right. If you're gonna live in this city, Amar, you gotta have it good.
I mean, I would love to explore more, man. To be honest, it just sucks with all this, all these rules and whatnot. It just kind of takes away from being a human. It feels like, to be honest.
So you're in quarantine now because you just came into the city. You came
because I came from the U.S. So if you cross the border, you gotta quarantine for 2 weeks, even though I tested negative and all that stuff.
They didn't make you stay in one of the hotels. I guess you.
No, it started on Monday. I came in on Saturday.
Oh, you got lucky then.
So
okay.
Well, I knew that it started on Monday. I was not gonna pay $2,000 out of my pocket and stay at a random hotel.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir. Alex is in California, so like for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he lives a different reality than we do.
Yeah. Where in Cali?
Well, right now I'm in Bakersfield, so it's like an hour and a half away from LA. So I left Montreal back in February last year, and then the whole thing started with coronavirus. So it's I like the day I come back to Canada, it's gonna be weird because I'm gonna feel like I skipped a beat, and I still think some places will still have restrictions. So for me, it's gonna feel weird because it's just a whole environment. So it's tough, man.
It's tough. It's tough here too. It's like don't tell anybody, but I was at my buddy's house just now with my girlfriend, and we had to like come back for the interview, but I'm like, either way I had to come back as a curfew, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, and you forget that that's a life you don't live, you know what I mean, anymore. And it's fucking
I think that's so crazy. I think that like if that was a rule in the US, there would be a second civil war. Like if they try to implement a curfew and like all this stuff, people would go.
I know so many people that are in Florida right now just like mucking it up, just like going nuts.
Oh, I was in Miami a month ago, and with my fiance, and like it felt so amazing that like everything was normal. You know what I mean? Like okay, we wore masks like when we were indoors and stuff like that, but like we were outside, we were by the pool, we were at the beach, we went to a restaurant. Like it's such a vibe to like see a normal like life again, you know what I mean? Like I forgot how it was to be normal because we were all just so pinned in and all this stuff and afraid of, you know, this virus that essentially isn't ever going to leave us. It's going to be the next flu, so we're just going to have to get flu shots and stuff like that. But it's just crazy to see how like different countries are handling it so much differently.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be especially weird for you guys not playing in front of fans and, you know, going to other cities and stuff. And I don't know how it's going to work out for you. Are you guys going to be hub cities? Like, how does it work?
They haven't announced anything to us yet, but I think it will be the same thing as last year where we play out of one stadium. And then we'll live in a hotel, I'm assuming again, and train at their facilities and just play our games there. And then maybe every 3 weeks, maybe fly home for a few days so guys can see their kids, and then go back.
Yeah, and speaking of playing with no fans, like how does it actually feel to not have fans in the stands? Do you actually feel a difference? Are you more pressured, less pressured? Like
Mm.
what's the vibe?
I mean, I think it's different for me to say because I only played the only game I played with fans in the stadium, well, like professionally, was my debut against LA Galaxy,
Oh wow.
and that was in front of like I think 25K, and like I mean, it's a huge difference. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can feel the energy within the stadium, and you're getting shit talked. Like if you're on the bench and you're warming up, like on the sidelines, you're like people are yelling at you, like yo, whatever, whatever, just shit talking. And then yeah, now you kind of walk out, it's pretty quiet, all you hear is the music, and there's no clapping, there's no cheering, there's no adrenaline. Like you kind of got to fuel yourself.
Yeah.
So
What's the worst
it's
thing someone
different.
said to you?
uh I, I think
Knowing Montreal fans was probably one of us.
I don't even. I like you just tune some stuff out. Like when you're a professional, you just kind of have to learn. Like you can't even make eye contact with them because
Yeah.
you make eye contact with them, you like fuel them more.
They win.
You know what I mean? Because then they know like, oh, you hear them. But like for me, it's just more like you just got to keep doing a little warm up on the side, and you just, maybe if they say something funny, like you laugh,
Yeah.
and then they'll like be like, oh yeah, he laughed, and then just like you go from there. But I've had people ask me what gel I use, and like, oh, your hair sucks, and
You got
your
great hair, man,
barber's
I'm not gonna lie.
shit, and then there's some people are like, oh, you got great hair, and then they're like, I don't even know. It just
And you don't have the ultras
whatever.
now to go defend you.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever the alcohol kind of puts into their mind is what they say. So
So we'll end it on this. It looks like Man City is gonna win. Man U has a nice chance. Liverpool's out.
yeah,
So good luck, man. Good luck with that. Hopefully Montreal has a better season than we did the last couple of years. Club de
Yeah,
Foot,
so
Montreal
true.
Impact. I mean, I wish you guys all the best. I mean, I appreciate you having you on, man. It was awesome.
appreciate you guys. It was a pleasure.
This episode again, Weekly Sauce, episode 39, is brought to you by Mike's BBQ Rub. Visit Mike'sBBQRubFTL.com and use Hot Sauce 10 for 10% off the entire site. Again, my name is Terry. Alex, thanks. I appreciate it, buddy. Amar, as usual, it was great. Peace.
Yep.